Hey, we are live. Hello, hello, everyone. Good morning and welcome to the Wonder Series. The Wonder Series is here every single Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is your weekly opportunity to wonder how life would be if you looked at it from another perspective. If you opened up yourself to the possibilities and changed your mindset, who would you be? What would you do? What would you create? And ultimately, how could this help you live that healthy, happy life that you are absolutely meant to live? A life that, a healthy lifestyle that works for you, not for somebody else, but specifically for you. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Denise Stiegel. I'm the CEO and curator at livinghealthylist.com and your host of the Wonder Series. So October is both perimenopause awareness month and it's also breast cancer awareness month. So what we're doing is we're alternating topics each week so we can give each one the appropriate attention, because both of them, ladies, are so important in our lives. You know, each of us has been touched in some way, shape, or form, whether it's ourselves, our loved one, our mother, our sister, with breast cancer, and none of us are getting older without going through perimenopause. Many of us are already experiencing symptoms. Some of us started really young, and this period is really long. So two of the most important topics or two really important topics for women, and we're going to be tackling them this month. So I'm really excited to introduce my guest today. She is an absolutely special woman. I know you're absolutely going to love her, because the very first time I met Jenny on the basically on a Zoom call, I just thought she was the sweetest, cutest thing and just had to get to know her. So Jenny C Cohen, she is a speaker, an actress, a comedian, a voiceover, and award-winning performance artist. She's also a breast cancer survivor and the creator of Dance to Heal wellness program and the podcast Dance to Heal, Transformation Through Movement. And we'll tell you a little bit later how you can find Jenny. Before we even do that, let's meet Jenny. Jenny, hey, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. So
Oh,
excited.
it's lovely to have you here. I'm so excited to chat with you. So we got a kind of a overall, this is who Jenny is, but let's tell us who Jenny is and how did you get to where you are today?
Okay, so it started 53 years ago in a rural part of Taiwan. I'm kidding, really. I did immigrate to the States when I was 6 from Taipei, Taiwan, and I grew up in Boston. And being the children of immigrants, I learned from a very early age how important it was to work and be focused and have goals. And I pretty much directed my life that way. So I went to high school and college and got my master's degree in occupational therapy, met the love of my life, married him. He consequently got cancer, so we had to go through in vitro to have 2 beautiful babies. And then I because karma is funny with life, I made fun of people who homeschooled and breastfed their children, and I ended up doing both with my kids. So then they went off to college, and we'll backtrack a tiny bit. In the middle of that, I ended up with breast cancer in 2014, and that was a very tough 18 months of treatment. And luckily, fast forward 6 years ahead, and now I'm healthier than I was after treatment, irrevocably changed forever since treatment, and feeling a call. Originally, I started off wanting to do a program, Dance to Heal, primarily focused towards breast cancer survivors, because there's this big hole after you're released, and you're announced you're breast cancer free. And there, at the time when I was finished, the 2015, I was announced I was cancer free and I had another year of treatment. And then after that, like, okay, well, you're great. We'll see you next year. And I was like, what? Well, what? I'm free. Well, what can I see you? Because I was seeing doctors every month, 2 or 3 times a month, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, just
Wow.
to monitor for treatments and to be released into the wild. It just felt like, well, what do? I have neuropathies. Still have this scar tissue. Because I was an occupational therapist, I was aware after the surgery, you can end up with some severe limitations in movement.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not know what to do with myself. So I started searching because I was already involved in the belly dance and the American belly dance community. I had continued to dance throughout all of it. And I even competed during my competition. And I also went on a Reiki journey and yoga journey
Mm-hmm.
and all kinds of forms of cardiovascular workouts because, Denise, I hate working out and I get bored very easily and I'll tune it out almost after the second or third class.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I'm this great workout person, but just because I'm gonna come back to this because of my past traumas. If I don't keep myself busy, my traumas will come back inadvertently into my subconscious, right? So I'm a busybody trying to keep busy so I can't settle and deal with it. Yeah.
Yep. I understand. I understand that. I'm kind of one of those people. My father used to call it, it's officially called Saint Vitus dance. My dad used to call it Savitas dance because I'm one of those people. From the minute I get up, I'm kind of I'm moving around. I'm doing something. I've never really thought of why I'm like that. So that's actually an interesting a tidbit you just kind of dropped there for us.
Yes. And the compilation of all that was the Dance to Heal Wellness program. However, because we are in the middle of a pandemic, I realized that this message I needed to give expanded beyond this special group of people that I'm a part of. And it actually means all of us need ways to remember to move, to heal. That's the crux of my program.
So let's talk a little bit. You were diagnosed in 2012 with breast cancer. Sorry, 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And I always want to know, because everybody's situation and everyone's experience is different. Did you know something was not right? Because so many women say, I just had a feeling, I just knew. What was your experience there?
Okay, so I want to give a little background. I was afraid I was being paranoid because I have a lot of behind the scenes traumatic events. My husband was diagnosed with testicular cancer, but before he was diagnosed, his brother died at age 26. And then we got married shortly. And then one of my children was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at 10.
A lot going on.
A lot of this stuff was happening. And so the year before I was diagnosed with my breast cancer, I actually had this premonition I wasn't going to live to see them grow up.
Oh,
I just had this subconscious thing in the back of my head. And because I'm a performance artist, I actually put together this whole performance piece. I found 2 people to represent my children grown. My kids were in the piece. I was going to play myself live and myself spiritually visiting them as grown people. This whole 5-minute production I was going to do 2013. And it would have been presented at an event. But then I competed January 2014. I won a competition, ended up being invited to Germany to compete and perform there. So I couldn't present that piece. And I felt like that was very interesting, the turn of events, because when I got back from Germany, Tuesday, middle of June, I am taking a shower and I found a lump in my right breast. And I was like, oh, is this a return of the 3 non-malignant breast lumps I got in college? Oh, that's going to be a pain. Those really hurt. Those are my thoughts. And I happened to have scheduled a physical, which I had postponed for years because we women tend to put ourselves last when it comes to taking care of ourselves. And I was busy homeschooling my kids. I went and the doctor felt that lump and said, okay, there's no need to continue with our physical. I need you to go and get a mammogram right now. When was the last one you took one? I was thinking, ow. I don't remember. And he said, you need to track that down. If you were my wife, I would tell you to get it today.
That was a good doctor. That was a
doctor.
really
he did not
amazing
waste my time.
doctor.
He just said, Donnie, I can't even, there's no point in the rest of this physical. You need you need to get the mammogram immediately. And I was like, why? And he's like, just trust me, go. He did not diagnose me. He just said, you really need this cleared. I will gladly do the physical with you once it's, it's checked out.
Wow. That's amazing. That is amazing. Because so many people kind of we're, like you said, as women, we don't usually take care of ourselves, and, we think, oh yeah, we'll be fine. So it's really amazing that this doctor kind of just said, let's just in case, because you never know. So that was really amazing. I'd like to talk a little bit about, this performance art and your competition in dance. I guess we should go back a little bit further and ask, when did you start dancing, and when did that become such a big part of your life?
When I was very young, I convinced my mom to enroll me in ballet classes. I was in grade school, and my parents owned a restaurant. So they could never make it to any of my performances because it would always be the restaurant rush.
Sure.
And I loved dancing. It made me feel so free. Those were my only memories of it, and then I kind of discontinued it and then picked it up again in high school. And of course, my parents still didn't go to my performances because they wanted me to go to Harvard or, Wellesley, any type of Ivy League school, because back then, I'm 53 now, so way back then, it was very important for them to have made the sacrifice to move to this country, and they expected a return from me in terms of college accomplishments. So, but I still loved it. I found modern at that time, and this teacher, just Miss Levine from Brookline High School, just made me so happy, and she also did ballet. So I got those beginnings. And then in college, I started taking classes. Will and Grace, that actress Deborah Messing, we went to school together, and we actually took a dance class together. That's
cool.
Yeah, you're right. 7 degrees. And I just always loved dance. I even in my early 20s attempted Broadway dance in New York City. I was working for a hospital for special surgery as an occupational therapist back then. And I would go to those classes and take it with these amazing dancers. Some would be from Japan, and or very, very up and coming people who would be touring with the likes of Janet Jackson or Paula Abdul. They were taking it for fun. I would be taking it like losing myself, looking like a fool, enjoying every second of it, because it just made me feel alive and free. Yet again, it always came to that word. When I found belly dancing, my kids were almost 4, and we had just moved to this very rural part of New York. It was a snowstorm. I didn't realize that people broke for Christmas, so I couldn't find no hip hop classes or modern classes. And I saw this penny saver. It was December of 2002, and I saw this penny saver belly dancing, and I'm like, "Honey, I'm doing belly dancing. Get home early." And he's like, "Okay, that's fine." And I fell in love with it, and it's been a love affair since. So my specialty now is a fusion of belly dance, or they've been going through some growing pains and acknowledging more the source of which we find our inspiration from. So I specialize more in studies of Turkish belly dance or Egyptian rock sharki, and I fuse that with my hip hop and my contemporary.
That's good. I just have to, we all have to just watch you dance. It sounds awesome. It just sounds incredible. Knowing a little bit about each one, but to put it together, that's just incredible. You said something a second ago that made me laugh, because I grew up in New York originally. You said the penny saver. I haven't thought about the penny saver in years. I haven't lived in New York since I was 20, in my 20s. Yes. But the penny saver was one of those things. You're right. Anything you wanted to buy, or, if you had something to sell, it went into the penny saver. And so who knew that you could find belly dancing in the penny saver, and in upstate New York, even?
Yeah. Hudson Valley, good old Hudson Valley. Yeah. So that became that adventure. It's been this extreme love affair, because if we were, how there is a zygote in every culture and country of knowledge, historically, even to do with our political stances. Yeah. And the beauty of this Rashtarki, or Egyptian belly dance, that I found is that I've been studying, gosh, since 2002. So we're in 2021.
Mhm.
I'm getting close to 20 years, and the outlying or overlapping countries are like Iraq and Lebanon and Turkey. There's even Greece. They all have this little slight twist.
Mhm.
Don't let's not forget, of course, let's acknowledge, right? Egypt is the continent of Africa.
Mhm.
So this beautiful dance form in all of its varieties, I feel like I've just touched the tip of the iceberg, and I still haven't hit most of the iceberg. And most icebergs are submerged. There's even more iceberg underneath the water. So it's just this lifelong journey. Oh, did I lose you? Hold on one second. Let me see if I plug in will help. So we might have lost the hostess. I think I'm still here. Hello. All right. I'm gonna make sure I'm still on.
Okay, I'm back again.
Oh, great. Hello.
We're back. Sorry, everyone. We were experiencing technical difficulties. It's really, really windy here today, so that may have been what happened. I'm not sure if anybody heard this, but I did want to take a quick second to say hello to Catrice, who is over here in our comment section, who's watching us live. So hello, thank you for joining us. So sorry about that, everybody, with that technical difficulty there. I'm sure we'll figure that out another time. But Jay, let's kind of get one of the things that you when you were just talking about was the different countries and the different types or the kind of the tweaks of belly dance that each of those countries has, and it kind of made me think of food because, of course, I'm a foodie, and each country may have similar dishes. But they're similar enough, but they're also very different. So explain to us a little bit, I guess a little bit about the differences in some of the types of belly dancing. But then what I'd love to hear about also is how you brought all of this together during your healing from breast cancer and then beyond.
Okay. So just to clarify, if you has the wonderful listener that is tuning in, and there's a recording of this, right, Denise, later
Yes.
for other people to access, every country's expression of Rashaki or another version of calling it in their language, you could study it for years to see the differences. And also it's a living art form, so they're still evolving it in their separate countries. So I want to be clear about that. All right. So
Interesting.
yes. Traditionally, the more homegrown versions of it, they're like even like, for example, in Egypt, people don't necessarily dance in public. It is a celebration behind closed doors, men and men, women and women. All right. There's a lot of political issues related to that, and also in their modern music. And I don't want to do a disservice by very quickly going over it.
Sure.
You can Google all of this, everybody. It's very, very important. Versus like in Turkey, there are other ways. There's more floor work in there. They have more veil work. They have zilling or finger cymbals. They have a little bit of that in Egypt, but that's more considered a musical instrument, and it's in the band. All right, so it's like I said, join me on this journey. If you want to find me on my website, jennyccohen.com, I can then send you along your way, or you can Google belly dance in Turkey, belly dance in Egypt, belly dance in Lebanon. There's some amazing source teachers I would love to introduce you to. Lebanese Simon. There is in Egypt, there is Aisha. And even Rakia Hassan. In Turkey, there's Azad Khan. There's amazing teachers who are masters at their craft and exquisite people to even, I can't even begin to describe how wonderful people they are. All right.
Incredible.
In terms of myself and my journey, when I was finding self-expression, this form of dance diluted, let's be honest, diluted in this American way, yeah, a little bit diluted and washed out of its flavor. Even that layer of it was able to help me find some freedom. And as I found more and more understanding of it, it has deepened my understanding of who I am as a person in relation to these beautiful cultures and countries that this form in all of its different ways originates from. During my treatment, I took breaks from my family and went away still to a lot of festivals. And there's something very interesting. There's an alchemy of energy when you're in a room of dancers, specifically any type of movement. I want to be clear with that, not specifically belly dance, right? So if you're in a room and people are moving, and I would get up occasionally doing a little bit, and then because of the need to do energy conservation when you're going through any type of treatment, it's so draining. I would do what I could and then sit, and just being in that space, there is a way that I would feel afterwards. It's similar to almost like a Reiki treatment. Now, people who aren't familiar with Reiki is the use of energy from the external universal source of energy to help heal someone and their energy waves. So if I was a Reiki person doing it to someone, or someone was doing it to me, I'm not absorbing their energy. They're not absorbing my energy, right? The Reiki person is a conduit for that energy to come through and make you feel better and help you straighten out your different levels that are not clear or need clean. Yes? It was very similar to that in a diluted way. And another example is, I don't know if anyone knows Galen Hooks. She's a very well-known Blasian choreographer, teacher, performer. She's toured with all the big names. And I'm an alum of her training. And she did, she did an open night of dancing. And so I was we were all masking and all vaccinated. I want to be clear. We all got a temperature check.
First.
Yeah. So back in July, the July 25th, the night before I turned 53, I was in a room of 50 other dancers, most of them younger than me, 2/3 of them professional dancers of LA. And she was giving us just simple prompts, and we were listening and dancing, taking turns in groups. And the healing I felt from that was so similar to the healing that I did during my treatment. This is why I think dancers become, quote unquote, addicted to movement and addicted to movement with other people.
Yeah.
There's
a certain energy. There's that additional energy that you get from other people. I can understand that. I mean, I'm very much a people person. I'm really great in a room with people. I can spend time on my own and, do things that I need to, but I feel that others' energy as well. And I think a lot of people are like that. And I think one of the things, what's happened with COVID, of course, is we haven't really been experiencing that. So it was really wonderful that you had an opportunity to take that class you were just telling us about. So tell us now, so obviously you have this incredible background, this passion when it comes to movement and dance. And as you mentioned, you were doing this through your treatment. So you're in a place now where you've created this incredible program to help others. Tell us a little bit about that.
This program is this wonderful gateway to this albatross, because I want to give everybody everything that is a part of this program. It includes meditation, because I'm also a meditation coach, a breath coach. It has yoga in it because I'm certified almost 1,000 hours in yoga. It has cardiovascular with work, WERK, which is a more like hip hop based cardiovascular. It has Sharkey workout, which is more of a belly dance workout. It has dance classes that are also geared towards all of these genres. And it also has, most important, I feel, an introductory understanding of how we are all recovering from trauma, even if we don't. And I'm not trying to be a therapist. I want to be clear with that.
Sure.
This just gives you all of the tools and tricks that my wonderful therapist gave me permission to introduce to people, so that you can then use that to start to find your way out of your own darkness. Because one thing that I found, so there's a woman named Amanda Rose, who is a part of the belly dance community. She's an expat based out in Barcelona, Spain. She just graduated from her master's degree. So she's an American that did her master's degree in Spanish in Spain. She's amazing.
Wow.
Yes. And she does, because she's now a dance therapist. We do movement on Mondays where it's just prompts, open movement. Please look her up, Amanda Rose. Yeah, Amanda, Rose. She's amazing. She's someone that you might want to interview, not to, but I like.
Thanks for the recommendation.
I have many, even Catrice, a woman who logged on, is someone that you want to like interview in the future.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah, I have so many people. Anyway, so back to the topic at hand. The key is, we all have darkness inside of us that we're not aware of. And it is okay if you don't want to deal with it. No one can force you. I don't want to, it's not a sneak attack. But if you feel like you want to have safe ways of even undimming the light switch a tiny bit, it's amazing that when we give ourselves these safe spaces to do it, how much lighter and more free we can feel. That because we are doing the living healthy list, right, Denise? Living healthy, we talked about this before, goes beyond eating and resting and drinking water. It talks a lot about what have we brought along with us in the past that we still take with us currently that we don't realize is actually harming us. But because at the time it happened, right, we came up with all these ways to keep us safe. Safe back then, it's now toxic to us now. And we have to find ways to let it go. We have to. And I'd say that meaning, if you're willing, you have to. So let's clarify.
Well, I think it's really important. And I think you make a very good point. None of us have gotten to this stage in life, completely unscathed. There are disappointments, there's hurts. Some people have more than others, obviously. But also some people are more sensitive than others. So something that may have happened to me may not be, that big a deal to somebody else, and vice versa. So I think when we talk about, traumas and things that have happened in our lives, it is absolutely something that eventually we do need to address. And we all do it in a different way. And I think that's what's really inspiring about what you've created here with Dance to Heal is, maybe somebody doesn't want to talk to a therapist or work with a coach, but they're looking for that thing that works for them. And that's one of the things that Living Healthy List I talk about all the time, a healthy, happy lifestyle that works for you. What works for you is not going to work for me necessarily. So this is an amazing opportunity for people to really, again, open their mind and look at healing and movement from a different perspective. I mean, you mentioned earlier that, you don't like to exercise. I hate using the word exercise. I don't use the word exercise. I use the word movement. And you and I talked about this earlier. I talk about the word play. And I think for me, play and dancing kind of go hand in hand. I have a bit of dance background from when I was, in really starting from the time I was a little girl all through high school. I didn't continue dancing when I went to college because I was on the fencing team. So I did sport, which again, I guess in a way is exercise, but it really was something very different. It was movement. And so I think what's really important for our audience is to, when we look at that, to talk about that different perspective, is movement something that's missing in your life? Is it something that could create that energy, kind of get that energy in your life moving? And I think you make a very good, you make it sound really easy to get into. It's not one of these things like, oh, I've got to go to a class like once a week, or you make it sound like it's very fun. Like there are prompts, there are videos, follow people. People can follow you. They can go to your website and connect with you. So I think, truly, I think we've really opened a door for people. One, for movement, but also for healing.
Yes, and let's be clear, right? What's music to you may not be music to me. There's some people who are propelled to move with the sound of rain, and it is healing to every cell in their being, and they want to move to rain. Or there's some people who hear wind, and that moves them, and they want to take a piece of silk and just move to the wind. And some people who need a combination of everything. They need some percussion, and they need the wind, and they want someone with a wind instrument, and that's enough music for them to move. I think it's just with the intention of saying, hey, I want to heal myself. And I do want to plug it in for Catrice. I just did a workshop with her, and she was saying, like, we're coming up on some very significant energy things happening between now and 2022. She can tell you all about it when you introduce her. But the point is, things are going to be expanding in 2022. What do you want to be expanding in you? So if you don't want to expand the negativity in you, got to expel that and plant seeds of positivity or growth or healing so that it will expand exponentially with you in 2022. I'm moving away from people who, it used to be in the past, it was enough for them just to be in my life. And I'm finding, no, I need people who are going to give as much as I give in my life. I need more of those people because I give a lot, Denise. Yeah. And it's time that I also, it's got to be a reciprocal. I do this a lot of my performances. There's an energy exchange. The audience has shown up. So my goal as a conduit performer is to give them back what they need. And I take that energy and I alchemize it in myself, and I produce a performance that feeds them because they're feeding me by even just showing up. Yeah. So that has to happen in life. That has to, yeah, I'm done with that.
I think you make that's a really good point, because I think, especially as women, so many of us can, give so much, and to our families, to our communities, to our friends. And we know we have those people in our lives that kind of get to a point where they expect us to continually give. And then the one time we don't, it's, they're kind of upset about it. But I think you make a very good point. There's nothing wrong with giving. I mean, that's how so many of us are, we're givers, but we also have to open ourselves up for receiving as well. And if we just say, okay, I'm just a giver, that's only a part of it. We also need to be able to receive. And that's where the energy comes in. It's an absolute, a free exchange of energy, giving and receiving. And I can see that. I can actually visualize that as you're, I see you in my mind dancing, how, that energy flow and very positive energy flows. Jenny, this has been really interesting. Tell our audience, if you would, two things. So we'll wrap up in a few minutes, but one, I'd love for you to tell people, so people said, okay, so I want to try this. I want to try movement. I want to try maybe dance. Where does somebody start? How do they say, go from sitting on the couch kind of going, I need something new in my life. I need to heal, whether it's healing from trauma, healing from breast cancer or some other illness. And they're at a place where they can either move forward in a positive way or stay stuck.
All right. If you want to stay stuck, I still embrace you. It is okay. If you want to be a turtle and just hide and look at things and go, that looks interesting, because there are many things in my life I've turtled into, and only when it was time did I wanted to be a stand-up comedian. And that's been a talk of mine since years when I started having my kids and going, oh my God, this would be really funny to talk about, right? And now they're 22 and I'm finally being a stand-up comedian about it. So we want to acknowledge you. Those of you who want to make a change, many different ways you can do it. If there's a particular music besides the natural sounds I was referring to that you feel compelled and you love and that get you toe tapping, or okay, TMI moment, get you dancing when you're naked after the shower. That's definitely feel free, right? Because you can be physical and do that. Put that music on and move freely. Acknowledge a part of you that was free as a child. I'm saying this because not that my parents didn't love me, but I never felt free as a child. So there are times when I feel most free when I happen to I do a playlist in my morning, and sometimes I'm showering, yeah, and I'll hear my favorite song, and I'll just be bopping around the bathroom, naked as a free J, super happy. That's step one. If you want to do that, some people are like, no, 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 I'm never going to dance naked. That's okay too. Find on YouTube your favorite types of genres of dance. Some people love flamenco dance. Some people love African dance. Some people love the more breathy, like ballet, whatever you want. Find those videos, play it, and then start incorporating some of those movements in your own body. Just mirror it. Mirror it and see how that makes you feel. You can also tune into my Dance to Heal podcast that is always posted on my website, jennyccohen.com, Cohen, Cohen. And then you can also get those links in every week. Catrice was my first member. My children have been my guest, and I will go through breath work with you. I will introduce some movement with you, different types of movement. I think my last show, the first Friday of October, my daughter came on, and we did Tai Chi because my daughter and my son have done gymnastics, competitive dance. They've even tried fencing, Denny's. They loved it. But then I got cancer and couldn't continue, and then they went to college. But anyway, so they my daughter, who she gives me permission to discuss this, she's been under suicide watch since 2017. And Tai Chi is one of the few movements that does not trigger her, because her competitive dance, it really, really did some damage behind the scenes that I wasn't aware of. Yeah, and she didn't want to give it up, so she didn't tell me until she quit. It was really bad. We can discuss that another show. Anyway, so she does Tai Chi. She does mixed martial arts. She does Wushu. And that's her healing movement. So tune in to the website. This coming Friday, I'm having Kapua, who just launched his solos King, Toon, and another one that I can't remember the name of. He's a solo artist, but I know him from other big belly dance production shows. But he's also a hip hop artist, and he's also a beautiful Polynesian dancer.
Amazing.
To that show.
I think one of the things that, what I'm hearing that what I'm really hearing as I'm listening to you is that there's so many different types of dance and movement that most of us don't think of on a daily basis. And finding you and following you on your podcast is really, the Dance to Heal podcast is a great way to expose ourselves to these not new forms, because so many of them have been around a lot longer than we have, but new to us. And so, Jenny, thank you for opening our eyes and our minds, bringing such positivity and such great healing energy to the Wonder Series. Last but not least, before we go, tell people exactly how to find you one last time, and we'll go from there.
Great. I wanted to also remind you, remember, we are mostly water, and water vibrates to sound. So find the music that heals you and play that. There's also healing tones on YouTube that you can find to play. Anyway, so back to where you can find me.
I love it.
Yeah, www.jenny, JENNY, Cohen, COHEN.com. I'm also on all social medias as JennyCcohen.com. So you can find me. If you find me under Aliyah Jenny, which is ALIYAHJENNY, that's my performance fusion name. So don't get confused. It all says that on my website. find me there.
And also, don't forget, it's Jenny C. Don't forget the C before Cohen, because otherwise you won't find her.
Yes, there's some very accomplished collegiate people by name of Jenny Cohen, and also in the music industry, I think. And so, not that they're not wonderful, and I wouldn't want to be known as them, but you can find me in the Jenny C Cohen.
Wonderful. Jenny, thank you. This has been an absolute pleasure to have you here. And I look forward to another continuing conversation moving forward.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For our listeners, thank you for joining us here today at the Wonder Series. Don't forget, we're here every week, Wednesday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you miss us, you can catch up on YouTube at the Living Healthy List YouTube channel. While you're there, don't forget, hit subscribe, hit the little bell, and you'll be notified the next time one of our interviews pops up on YouTube. We will see you next week. Thank you again, Jenny. Thank you to our listeners. Till next time, healthy living, happy life. Have a great day, everyone.